Hi, today we will going to discuss one question from 2021 2021 PCS optional. The question is examine the relevance of one Thunian model of agriculture location. So firstly I will give you a broad framework in which we will going to write this answer. So the question is about the relevance of one Thunian model. So the relevance we can highlight using to his concept which von Thunian have given. First, the land use pattern which is concentric zone pattern. Second concept is principle of land rent, which is that the ability to pay land rent decrease with distance away from the market. These are the general two principles or concept which is given by von Thunian. So relevance aspect we can also analyze using these two concepts. So first we will be discuss the agriculture land use pattern in practical profile using a case study. We can use Europe, USA case study or in developing world in general. Second concept, application of a second concept, that is the use of land rent concept. In that first will we discuss the agricultural intensity decline pattern, as he deducted from his concept of land rent that the agricultural intensity decreases as we move from market area. Thus this represents the agriculture intensity decline. Similarly, the land rent concept can be used to analyze the urban land use pattern and industrial location. Similarly, analyzing the pattern of inequality in agriculture. So the land use concept we can analyze its application in agricultural intensity concept, urban land use pattern, industrial location, and finding the inequality in agriculture. In these broad heading we will analyze the relevance of von Thunian model. So we can start our answer with a simple and relevant introduction. as I have written that the von Thunen model is one of the oldest example of positivism. Positivism means quantitative revolution, as these model and theories are manifestation of the quantitative revolution phase. So it is one of the oldest example of positivism in the social sciences, whose primary purpose was to formulate a universal law of agriculture location. That's it. So I have written not more than 4 lines as an introduction. So as we move our answer, the relevance of the von Thunen can be analyzed through the following way. So first we'll be analyzing its concept application in the land use pattern as given by him. That is the application of the land use pattern given by von Thunen. As we know that von Thunen has given the concentric zone model for the land use pattern, in that he described this pattern, that is the first CBD concentric in his concentric zone model, which is followed by lumbering and market gardening and crop farming, and lastly in livestock sector. This is the land use pattern which von Thunen has given. So we will be apply this general concept in Europe and analyze how it is relevant or not. So we find that in Europe, this is the diagram which we can use. In that we can see that how CBD is there is the market area, which is followed by the market gardening. This is the market gardening zone, this is the grain farming zone, and this is the livestock area, and lumbering and forestry is this area. So this shows a more or similar pattern like this. Okay, so we can say that it is fairly applicable, thus the principle is true with respect to the British Isles and Iberian Peninsula. However, there are some changes can be seen, as we can observe that in his model the lumbering is the second zone. However, in Europe the lumbering and forestry is the outermost area. So इसमें we can put an example that कि forestry and the lumbering belt shifted toward the north in the Scandinavian region. The reason behind this shift is the demand side, as there is a more demand for forestry, so it shifted forestry or lumbering product, so it shifted towards outside. Okay, and this land use pattern we can analyze in the developing countries, and if this principle of agriculture land use is not applicable, we find it is not applicable in the developing world, as developing world represent a subsistence type of agricultural system. Thus we can conclude that this principle of agriculture land use pattern, it has a limited application or applicability. ठीक है, then we will go for the application, analyzing the application of the second principle, that is the applicability of general principle of decline in the agricultural land use intensity. As have I already told you that this concept is deducted from his land rent concept, and von Thunen outlined that as we move away from the market, the agricultural intensity will decline. As I have already shown, this represents a decline in the agricultural intensity with distance. We can also write a reason behind that, but it is not necessary. For your understanding, I can explain it as that the total production cost is inclusive of transportation cost and production cost. So as we move away from the market, okay, the transportation cost will be increased. So to remain the total cost of production similar, the production should be declined, thus intensity have to decline to maintain total cost of production similar. Okay, thus there is a general principle that in market, as we move away from the market, the agricultural intensity is declining. We can give practical examples from India. For example, in Punjab, APMC Sandis are located less than 5 kilometer away. Okay, so we find that there is a high agricultural intensity. In comparison to that, Assam, there is a APMC Sandis are located more than 60 kilometer away from the market. या market means कि APMC मंडी are located more than 36 kilometer away. So agricultural productivity will be low there. So this principle is fully applicable in developed world, as we can give example also here, but due to the lack of space I have not given. We can use this also in Europe case. For example, as I have drawn Europe map, as I have shown in agricultural pattern. So this is the market area, this is the high intensity zone. As we move away from the market, this is the medium intensity zone, and the rest, this area have low aggregate intensity. Okay. However, in context of developing countries, this principle have a limited application या applicability. For this, I have quoted an example of M. Safi's case study, where he used the model to define the agricultural pattern in agriculture, and he found that it is largely inapplicable. This inapplicability can be explained as in India there is no market center who control whole of India. Instead, India has regional centers, for example Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Mumbai. However, in case of regional application की बात करी जाए तो it is also inapplicable, as the India agriculture is more determined by deterministic factor. For example, availability of irrigation facilities and various agroecological factors which determine the agricultural intensity, not mainly the economic factor, that is the availability of market. Okay. Similarly, using the land rent concept, we can explain the pattern of urban land use, as von Thunen has outlined that there is a decline in ability to pay land rent away from the market center. As I have shown through this diagram shows the ability to pay land rent in this context, and this is distance. ठीक है. So every sector have its own ability to pay land rent, and accordingly they have a steepness for decline. So CBD have a sharp decline. For manufacturing it is slope is less inclined. Similarly for residential and agriculture, and this land rent pay abilities manifested in the spatial pattern as like that, in a concentric zone pattern, like a market area. This is followed by the manufacturing area, this is followed by the residential area and agriculture area. ओके, तो ये एक तरीके से बर्गीज मॉडल को रिप्रेजेंट करता है, विच इज़ आल्सो गिवन द कंसेंट्रिक मॉडल. ठीक है. दिस अर्बन लैंड यूज पैटर्न इज लिमिटेड टू अ मल्टी न्यूक्लियाई सिटीज़. सो क्वेश्चन इज अबाउट एग्जामिन, तो वी हैव टू गिव करंट कंटेक्स्ट के हिसाब से हम अप्लीकेशन दिखाना चाहेंगे इसमें. सो हाउएवर इन द कंटेम्प्रेरी टाइम द सिटी इज शोइंग द मल्टी न्यूक्लियर or sectoral model of development. So not as a concentric model, current situation will be like that. we have a multiple nuclei followed by its extended zone. So land rent ability not show a steep decline, instead it's show this pattern wavy. As we move away, it's overall declining but show some interruption as a bulge. Similarly, using his the land rent concept, we can explain the industrial location. As we know that there is a difference in the ability to pay land rent for every sector. Okay, so as we give the example of automobile industry, as we know that it is a market oriented industries, it is locational factor is not raw material oriented, so it will be give preference to locate where there is a low land rent. So we can explain it by giving more example, like automobile industries in Delhi are located in the outskirts as it have low land rent. So Manesar and Greater Noida. In Mumbai, similarly, the automobile industry is located in the Pune. Similarly, in Indore, it is the Pitampura, which is the hub of industrial location for automobile. Thus, this pattern of industrial location is due to the differences in the ability to pay land rent. Similarly, it explains the idea of Marx and Eagle. Marx and Eagle has highlighted that the some people owns land, are the owner of the land, and some are not, and those are the owner of the land are extract more profit, and those have not or have a limited profit. So this explains why there is a more propensity of famine in the some area, that is those have a not owner of the land, there is a more prevalence of famine there. Thus in this manner we can explain the relevance of von Thunen. And finally, as I have tried to confine my answer in the 3 pages, as it is available only, there is availability of the 3 pages only in during the mains. So I tried to conclude by writing not more than 4 writing, as you have a more freedom to write in conclusion. So I have tried to write a more simple public conclusion, as von Thunen model must be appreciated for its attempt to formulate a generalized model which can be used as a tool in analyzing the complex spatial and economic pattern. Okay, so this is the answer which I am trying to write and explain to you, so you can get more insight in the topic, as it is a more application based question, or whose answer maybe you not be get in any book. So thank you. For more videos, please subscribe and like my channel.